He mocked my dreams for years, so I turned his nightmares into reality. Please stay with me as I tell my story. And please, do not forget to support our channel by subscribing to our channel, liking our videos, and sharing your loved one. Your support means the world to us. Now to our story. Every time I talked about starting my own design app, Dylan laughed in my face. He didn't just chuckle, he performed. At parties, in group chats, even in front of strangers. "Here comes Shark Tank again," he'd say, waving a hand like I was some embarrassing joke he had to tolerate. We were best friends, technically. Grew up together, same schools, same neighborhood. But somewhere along the way, Dylan decided I was beneath him. He got a marketing job right out of college and thought that made him a king. Me? I was the dreamer, the one who sketched wireframes during lunch breaks and watched YouTube tutorials all night. According to him, I was a wannabe tech bro with no clue. The final straw came at dinner with our usual group. I'd finally gotten a prototype of my design app working. I was excited, too excited. I told everyone. Dylan laughed so hard he choked on his drink. "A design app? What do you know about design?" he said. "Bro, just get a job at Target or something." I didn't say anything. Not then. I just smiled, paid for my meal, and left. That night, I blocked his number. And I worked, quietly, for 2 years. The app took off. Investors came knocking. By the time we reached 500,000 users, I had a team of 12, an office space, and a clean 6-figure salary. Still, I didn't forget. Not once. One day, I saw his name on a LinkedIn post. Freelancer looking for new opportunities. Curious, I reached out through a fake HR account. I told him we were hiring. He jumped at the chance. He showed up in a wrinkled button-up and a thin smile. Didn't recognize me right away. I walked in during his third-round interview. His face froze. "Wait, you own this place?" I nodded. Surprise. I let him think he got the job. He bragged online about working with a cutting-edge startup. I even had him lead a fake investor pitch. We set up a live stream, had him present the app to a panel of supposed investors. Except they weren't investors. They were actors. I had paid them to ask the dumbest questions and laugh at all his answers. When it ended, Dylan looked broken. I walked on stage, took the mic, and smiled. "This is what happens," I said, "when you mock someone who remembers everything." He stormed out. The video went viral, and I finally slept like a king. Jason was the kind of coworker everyone liked. Loud, charming, fake. We started at the tech company around the same time, bonded over bad coffee and long code reviews. He was the only one I trusted enough to show the automation tool I'd been building on the side, something that could cut our department's workload in half. It wasn't perfect yet, but it was good. Really good. 1 week later, he pitched it in a meeting. My code. My interface. My exact words. Except now it was his idea. Everyone clapped. Our manager said it was visionary. Jason got the promotion and the bonus. I got silence. I wanted to confront him. I really did. But I didn't. I just smiled, nodded, and said, "Great work, man." That night, I started a private folder. I saved everything. Timestamps, screenshots, version history. Even chat logs where he'd asked me questions about the tool. Every shred of evidence went in there. I waited. Patiently. I watched him get comfortable, cocky. He started slacking off, assuming no one would challenge him. Meanwhile, I was improving the software in my spare time, making it leaner, smarter, faster. 6 months later, I leaked the folder anonymously to HR. But I didn't stop there. I sent it to 3 major tech blogs and 1 influencer who specialized in exposing tech frauds. I used a burner email and attached a full report titled, "The Copycat King of Company Name." It was detailed, unignorable. Jason was called into HR that same week. He didn't return to his desk. 2 days later, a blog post with his name in the headline went viral on Twitter. Tech exec exposed for stealing junior dev's project. Comments were brutal. His LinkedIn went dark. I resigned the following Monday. Quietly. A month later, I launched my own startup using the upgraded version of the software. I called it TrueCode because I wanted the name to sting a little. Within 3 months, we had our first 10K users. One of our new clients? Jason's old company. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. But I'll admit, it felt damn good seeing his name on a list of rejected applicants when he tried to apply for a position at my company. Yes, I saw the resume. He listed the automation tool under skills develop. I just laughed and deleted the file. In high school, I made the mistake of uploading comedy skits to YouTube. Cheap webcam, bad audio, awkward delivery, classic cringe. But I loved it. I had big dreams of becoming a comedian. Unfortunately, so did Tyler. Tyler was the kind of guy everyone thought was hilarious because he was loud and mean. He'd play my videos at parties without warning, just to make people laugh at me. He called me Netflix reject in the halls. I stopped uploading after junior year. Honestly, I stopped trying. But I never stopped writing. While he was bombing open mics in our hometown, I was building a portfolio online. Under a fake name, I sold jokes to bigger comedians. My Twitter blew up, my sketches went viral. I started writing for shows, big ones. No one knew it was me. I liked it that way, until I saw a clip of Tyler on TikTok, still doing stand-up. Still bad. Still using my name as part of his act. Remember that one dude who thought he was funny? Had like 10 views total? Bet he's working at a gas station now. That was it. I called my agent, quietly bought out the comedy club where Tyler performed every Thursday night. The owner was struggling. It wasn't even that expensive. Then I posted a casting call for a Netflix comedy talent search. All fake. All part of the setup. Of course, Tyler applied. Sent in his grainy demo tape and showed up desperate. I made sure to sit behind the glass in the sound booth during his audition. He didn't recognize me. I let him sweat through 10 painful minutes of stolen jokes and bad improv. Then the lights cut out. Spotlight on stage. I walked out. Ladies and gentlemen, I said to the empty room, please welcome the inspiration for my new series. Washed up and worn out. He looked confused. Then angry. Then scared. I aired a 5-minute roast I'd written, featuring clips of him mocking me, spliced between footage of his worst stand-up bits. Then I looked him in the eye. You're not just not funny, Tyler. You're the reason jokes die. The video went up that night. TikTok, YouTube, everywhere. The internet devoured it. People started stitching their own reactions. Tyler tried to defend himself, but the damage was done. He trended for all the wrong reasons. Next week, we put up a sign outside the club. New ownership. New talent. No bullies allowed. I perform there now. Weekly. Full house. I grew up in a small town where nothing ever changed. Same streets, same gossip, same people doing the same things year after year. I always said I'd leave. Not just leave, but make something of myself. They all smiled like I was cute for dreaming. But Kyle? He laughed in my face. Kyle was my cousin, but more like a shadow I couldn't get rid of. He was loud, arrogant, and everyone's favorite by default. Football star, prom king, the guy who thought he'd peaked at 17 and was proud of it. Every time I talked about moving to the city, about starting a career, he'd find a way to drag me down. You. In real estate, he once said at a family barbecue, loud enough for everyone to hear. You wouldn't last 5 minutes. You'll be back here cleaning gutters, broke as hell. He'd spread lies too, told people I got rejected from every college, told a girl I liked that I was just pretending to move, said I'd never leave because I was scared. It got to me for a while, but I kept my head down, saved money, learned what I needed, and one day, I just packed my bags and left. No goodbye. 10 years later, I came back. Not because I missed the place, because I had a reason. I had spent a decade building something real. I started small in the city, flipping tiny apartments. Then I started buying land. Before I knew it, I had a real estate company with 40 employees and properties in 3 states. I kept quiet online. No flexing. No social media. Just work. Then I saw Kyle's name pop up in a foreclosure note. His dad's old house, the one he always bragged about inheriting, was about to be sold. So I bought it. I didn't just keep it either. I turned it into a coffee shop. Exposed brick, warm lighting, little books on every table. I called it Dreamers Only. Subtle, but not really. Kyle walked in on opening week. He looked around, confused. Why does this place look familiar? He asked the girl behind the counter. I stepped out from the back, apron on, and smiled. Because it used to be yours. He stood there, speechless. He needed money. I offered him a job. Now he works the register. Every morning he unlocks the doors to a place that reminds him. I made it out. He didn't. When I first started at the PR firm, Drew took me under his wing. He was sharp, connected, and knew how to win over any room. I admired him at first. He taught me the ropes, brought me into big meetings, even bought me drinks after work. I thought he was helping me grow. Turns out, he was just planting landmines. The moment I started getting attention, landing big accounts, getting praise from execs, everything changed. He got cold. Then came the rumors. Quiet at first. Whispers that I was leaking client info, that I'd messed up a major campaign. None of it was true, but in PR, perception is reality. They fired me without warning. Drew stood there when I cleaned out my desk, smirking, said, "Sometimes things don't work out, kid." I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I just walked out. Then I disappeared. For 3 years, I freelanced under different names. I took trash jobs, then better ones, then clients who paid real money. Built contacts in silence. Made friends in finance, tech, media. I told no one what had happened. I let them think I'd burned out. Meanwhile, I was building something real. When the time was right, I formed an LLC. Quietly approached the parent company of the PR firm. Turns out, the place had been bleeding money for years, thanks to Drew's shady backdoor deals and his habit of overpromising. He was keeping the company alive on charm alone. So I bought it. All of it. Full control. And I showed up on Monday morning, wearing the same suit I'd been fired in. People stared as I walked through the doors. Drew was in his glass office, feet up on the desk like nothing could touch him. Until I knocked. He looked up. "Can I help? Why?" "I own this place now," I said, loud enough for the whole floor to hear. His face dropped. "I called a staff meeting. Right there, right then." I opened a file and laid out every shady deal Drew had made. Fake clients. Inflated results. Expense fraud. No one said a word. "Drew," I said, "you're fired. Effective immediately." He stood up, sputtering. "You can't." I just did. By lunch, he was gone. By dinner, a news blog had published every detail I gave them. Headlines read, "PR star caught in ethics scandal. Former protege exposes years of fraud." Me? I went back to work. Same desk he used to sit at. Funny how things turn around. I was 22, fresh out of college, and thrilled to land a fashion internship. It was unpaid, of course, exposure, they called it. And it did give me exposure, mostly to humiliation. Ryan, my boss, ran the office like a runway show where he was the only judge. If you didn't look like an Instagram model, you didn't matter. And me? He made it clear I didn't make the cut. Every day was a new insult. "Lose the glasses. You look like someone's sad little sister. Speak up, but not like that. Your voice is so annoying. You'll never make it in this industry. No one wants advice from the ugly girl." I smiled through it. I nodded. I took the notes. But I also started recording. At first, it was just to remember how awful he made me feel, so I wouldn't gaslight myself later. But after a while, it turned into something more. I started stitching clips together. Not just of him, but the whole toxic culture. The backhanded compliments, the body shaming, the fake smile. I created a TikTok account under the name @TheUglyIntern. At first, I kept it vague. But people knew. Oh, they knew. My DMs filled up with others who'd interned there. Same stories, same trauma. I started naming names. Ryan's specifically. It blew up. Fast. The day a video of him calling me a poor man's assistant trying to cosplay confidence hit 3 million views, I quit. But I wasn't done. I launched my own brand. A streetwear line built on everything Ryan said was unfashionable. Oversized silhouettes, bold prints, crooked stitching. I called it Irrelevant to You. It sold out in 2 weeks. Ryan tried to jump on the wave. Commented on one of my viral posts, calling me an exciting new voice in fashion, like he hadn't tried to crush me daily for 2 years. He even showed up at one of my pop-ups uninvited, trying to get selfies with influencers. Big mistake. One of those influencers posted a video of him with the caption, "Didn't this dude call her a fashion disaster last year?" He got roasted. Comments lit him up. Brands dropped him. He tried to clap back, but it only made things worse. Meanwhile, I signed a retail deal with a major chain. Now, my clothes hang on racks next to designers I used to admire from behind his coffee order. I'm not too loud. I'm not too plain. I'm not too weird. I'm just me, and that's the whole brand. Growing up, all I wanted to do was draw. Sketchbooks were my safe space. I'd fill pages with characters, stories, colors no one else seemed to notice. But my older brother, Mark, never took it seriously. He called it doodling, like I was 5 years old with crayons. "Art isn't a job," he said once. "It's a hobby. You need to grow up and do something useful." He said I was selfish for not helping more around the house, for wasting time, for dreaming. So I stopped showing anyone my work. I'd sketch at night, post online under a fake name, and tell Mark I was job hunting. Meanwhile, my art account started growing, fast. People connected with what I was doing. I opened a shop, sold prints, made enough to move out. Quietly, I never told him. Mark opened a gallery around the same time. He borrowed money from my aunt and said he wanted to bring real art to the community. But what he meant was overpriced, cold, boring pieces that no one cared about. I watched from a distance as the gallery emptied out, month after month. Then I saw the listing go up. He was trying to sell. So I bought it. Under a different name. Through a third-party buyer. He had no idea. On the day the paperwork cleared, I showed up in person, keys in hand. He looked up from the front desk, confused. "What are you doing here?" "I own this place now," I said. He laughed. Until I handed him the deed. "You're kidding." "Nope." I didn't stop there. I posted an announcement online, not just about the gallery rebrand, but my identity. That I was the artist behind the viral account he never even knew existed. I included screenshots. Messages from him mocking my art. A voicemail he left years ago calling me a lazy dreamer. The response was massive. People showed up in droves. News outlets reached out. My followers flooded the gallery, turning it into something real, something alive. I renamed it the Dream Drawer. Mark. I gave him one option, leave. No second chance, no negotiation. He packed up in silence. He once told me my art would never make $1. He was right, sort of. It made millions. Then it bought his gallery. Then it erased his name from the door. In college, I was the quiet one in the dorm. I kept to myself, head down, trying to make it through coding boot camp while everyone else partied and talked big. My roommate, Alex, was one of those guys who thought confidence was the same as intelligence. He was all talk, business major, always name-dropping companies he'd definitely work for one day. He found out I was in a boot camp and, he said, "Bro, I give it 2 months. Tops. If you actually make it, I'll eat my shoes." I didn't say anything, just smiled. That night, I started building. I already had an idea, a productivity app for freelancers. But now, I had motivation. I worked in silence. I coded at night. And to make it better, I let Alex think he was right. I started missing classes, talked loudly on the phone about how I might quit, even left out fake rejection emails. Alex took the bait. He told everyone I'd dropped out, bragged on social media about how he called it. Meanwhile, I kept building. A year later, the app was done. Polished. Clean. I pitched it to a few small VC firms under a fake LLC name. One of them bit. They didn't just bite, they bought. Suddenly, I had 6 figures in the bank and an acquisition deal on the table. I waited until the press release dropped. That same day, I emailed Alex. Subject line, time to eat. Inside was a link to the Forbes article about the sale, with my photo front and center. And a note. Remember what you said you'd eat? Check the mail. I sent him a box. Inside, one of his old sneakers, I'd stolen it sophomore year, a bottle of hot sauce and a napkin with my autograph. He didn't reply. But the next week, I got invited to a podcast that interviewed new founders. I agreed on one condition. I wanted to tell a story about a college bet. I didn't use a fake name. I called him out word for word on a platform with 500,000 listeners. His DMs got flooded. Someone even started a hashtag #EatTheShoesAlex. He finally messaged me. "Dude, seriously?" I replied, "You started the bet. I just made it real." Funny thing is, he never ate the shoes. But I heard he applied to a junior developer job at the company that bought my app. They passed. I made it. And I seasoned. The win. His name was Chase. Tall, charming, golden boy energy. The kind of guy who smiled with all teeth and no sincerity. So when he asked me out after a party, I was surprised but flattered. He made it seem real. Coffee dates, walks on campus, cute texts before bed. I was falling for him. Stupid, I know. But on day 28, I found out the truth. I overheard him bragging to his frat brothers. 2 more days and I win. Bet said 30. After that, she's history. That's when I stopped being sad and started planning. I didn't confront him. I didn't cry or scream or ask why. I just smiled a little more, got a little sweeter, started filming everything. Every fake compliment, every over-the-top gesture, every good boyfriend moment he performed like he was on stage. I recorded it all. Then, on day 31, I disappeared. No calls, no texts, just silence. 2 days later, I dropped the first video on TikTok. Title, 30 Days of a Liar, Day 1. Each clip was paired with sarcastic captions like, "He said he loved my brain," or "Future Oscar winner right here." I didn't say his name, at first, but people figured it out fast. It blew up. By the time I posted day 10, the series had over 12 million views. And I had receipts, screenshots, voice memos, the video of him literally saying the word bet to his friends. I saved that one for day 30. By then, it wasn't just a TikTok series. It was a movement. Girls started stitching their own bet stories. I launched merch. T-shirts that said, "I'm nobody's bet," sold out in 3 hours. Then the interviews started. Podcasts. BuzzFeed. Local news. Chase. He tried to go silent. Then he tried to apologize. Then he tried to blame me for ruining his future. Didn't work. Turns out the company he'd been interning at saw the videos and pulled his offer. A brand he'd been modeling for dropped him too. His frat tried to do damage control, but it was too late. He went from campus king to the face of emotional manipulation, and not in a fun way. Me? I started consulting for social media campaigns, turned 30 Days of a Liar into a book deal. I didn't do it to be famous. I did it because no one should feel like a joke. But if someone has to be the punchline, I'm glad it was him. When I first told Ben I wanted to be a writer, he smirked. Not in a sweet way, in that slow, condescending way that says, "That's cute, but not serious." "You mean like fanfiction?" he said. "You know that's not real writing, right?" He never stopped mocking it. Anytime I got excited about an idea, he'd roll his eyes. He called my stories emotional nonsense. Said no one would ever pay to read something that sounded like it belonged on Tumblr in 2012. I laughed it off at first. Then I started believing him. Then he cheated. He blamed me. Said I was too dramatic, too sensitive, unstable. That I lived in a fantasy world and ignored real life. Like his infidelity was somehow my fault. I left that night. No big scene. No shouting. I packed my laptop, my notebooks, and disappeared from his life like I was never there. And then I wrote. I changed my name online, wiped everything, and started from scratch. I poured everything into a novel, a fantasy story, yes, but one with a villain so sharp, so specific, that anyone who knew Ben would recognize. The fake charm, the gaslighting, the way he always made others feel small to feel big. The book took off. First TikTok, then Twitter, then the bestseller list. People connected with it in a way I never expected. Book clubs started dissecting the villain like he was real. Some fans even joked, "This guy feels way too specific to be fake." So I leaned in. I posted a video. Fun fact, the villain in my debut novel is based on my real ex. And yes, he knows. People lost it. I posted screenshots, texts where he mocked my writing, a voice memo where he literally said, "No one reads books anymore unless they're about sex or murder. And you suck at both." Fans clipped it, turned it into memes. Someone made a remix, and it went viral on TikTok. Ben tried to deny it at first, said I was milking drama for clout, but the receipts were clear. Every denial made him look worse. Book sales doubled. I did interviews, signed a movie deal. My publisher sent me champagne. Meanwhile, Ben's social media slowly vanished. The last thing he posted was some vague quote about betrayal and forgiveness. Comments were brutal. I didn't name him in the book. I didn't have to. The best revenge isn't success. It's success written line by line, until the person who doubted you becomes a footnote in your story.